Welcome everyone to Product One's technical web series, and today's topic is program for parts and assemblies. So what I have here is actually a component, and I want this part to always change or ask me to put in a couple of inputs every time I regenerate it. So inside Creo Parametric, I go into my program, and this is what I currently have. I'm going to add a string variable, and I'm going to want my Creo session to ask me this question: what is the mounting option used? And I can give a user a couple of suggestions. I can say make the first one to be a lug and the other one to be a spindle. That's basically a question that will be posed to me. And now what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to search for a feature ID. So basically that feature ID is this one here at the top. Okay, so I've found the feature ID in this case, and I'm going to add here if the mount is equal to, let's say, the lug, or it can actually be equal to the last feature in this case. So let's say and let's close this program out. So this is what I'm currently having. Okay, so now when I close this and I actually save this, I'm actually integrating those changes inside my Creo session and in this part. So if I say regenerate each and every time, it will ask me what's the mounting option. So I can actually choose between a spindle, and that's basically the result. And every time I regenerate, I have the option to say I want to add more variables in this. Let's make it, for an example, a lug. So that's how the part actually behaves at the moment. So let's actually put it back to spindle, and then we'll carry on to the next challenge. So the challenge is I want every time I regenerate, particularly when I'm choosing the lug, it must ask me how many number of holes. To do that is you go back to your program, and I'm actually going to do the following. I'm going to say if mount is actually chosen, let's say the lug in this case, ask me number of holes every time I choose the lug, and maybe even ask me this question: how many mounting holes? Alright, so you have to be careful with your spelling because there's no spell check in this. So now I'm going to close that portion of the program, and I'm going to save this, and I'm integrating it in my component. So every time now I regenerate, I now have the capability of assigning the number of holes. So let's actually test that. If I pick a lug, there it is. It asks me how many number of holes, and that's basically the result. You can add as many inputs or variables on your design as much as you like. So let's look at it in this context. I've got a couple of other options. I'm going to just copy these in order to save time. So I'm going to copy these there, and when I close this, I'm now going to incorporate all those variables in this design and look at all of that. So meaning that now I have something that asks me what's the rim diameter. I'm going to leave it at 12 inches. What's the width? We'll leave it on 6. Yes, I want it to be straight. Right hand side, no, I don't want it to be curved. And maybe for this one, let's make it spindle, and maybe the magnitude, let's say 4. And if I like this option, I'm going to say instantiate and maybe give it a name and call it rim 1. And now I can do the same thing again for maybe a different design. Remember, now this is a family table instance. I will show that a bit later. I can say let the diameter to be the same, but then the width, let that be different. Do you want the spokes to be straight? No, I want them to be curved. And no, I don't want the other one to be curved. So I'm going to make even the radius of this to be 3.5. And let's choose a different mounting option so that you get to see the variation between the two. And this is it. Now, I want to take this and also create a family table instance. Let's make it rem2. So what this gives us is family table instances, 2 of them which are distinctively different, and all of this is coming from assigning the range of variables and parts on your part. You can trickle this down into your assemblies. As you can see, this is what we currently have. So just like before, I can say go into your program. This is now for this assembly, and I'm going to say take the wheel diameter. In this case, I'm going to modify that and want a number. I want it to assign what is the wheel width, and we also want a number as far as that is concerned. Then I'm going to do something very unique. I'm going to say, how about I go to where I'm adding a feature or a part. In this case, I'm going to change that to say, don't add a wheel, but add the instance of the wheel. The reason for that is that we've got family table instances that we're going to actually incorporate into this. Just like before, in order to save time, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to copy those relations so that you don't get to see me type that can get a little bit tedious. And what I will also do is I will just copy the execution of that particular entity. Okay, now that we've done that, if I save this and I incorporate this into my design, now I've got this, but in the context of an assembly. So that means that I can assign what is the wheel diameter and of course what is the wheel width, and just like that. So this is now having the ability to modify, even in an assembly, how your parts and assemblies interact with one another. So if you want a completely different design, let's say hypothetically, I want this to be whatever the change, the width and so forth, all I have to do is just type in a value there and just modify that and so forth. So that is it for this week. Until next time, thank you very much.